What's up? What's up?
Hey,
What's up, everybody? So, we're back here with another episode of James Massey Live, where we interview agents that's killing it in their industry, in their field, and in order to provide tremendous value to the real estate agent that's looking to grow and actually build and take their business to the next level. I am so excited to be here with Danesha today. You all in for a treat. If you don't know her, you about to know her. Danesha, what's going on?
nothing, just hanging out.
All right, cool. Our topic today is about how to transition into commercial. So we're going to get into a little bit of that first. Going into this thing. But first, before we do that part of it, can you tell everybody, what got you into real estate from the beginning?
So, what got me into real estate is that so I never could keep a job. Like, I would like get a job the first day, and then like 6 months later, I hated it. So, I would like either quit or get fired. And I didn't really get why, but whatever. So then I like became a waitress, and that was the longest job I kept because we could come like at whatever time, and then we leave, and I'm partying, having a good time because I was young, right? And but I'm still making money. And so I was like, well, this just it doesn't make sense because like I can't do this forever. And I had a child, and I was a single mom. So I was like, I mean, the money good, but I can't do this forever. I gotta do something that is going to take me for the long haul, basically, like because I can't retire from being a waitress, right? And so I went while I was a waitress, then I went to school for real estate, and it took me a long time because I was a waitress. So I'd be like, taking it, doing all kind of doing the wrong stuff basically. So I couldn't pass the school test first, and then I had to. Um, it was a year later. I ended up going back to class, so I did the class twice. Then I passed that test. Then I took the real estate test, the state test. I didn't pass that, and then I went back and I passed it. And so I was like, okay, well, real estate it is. So I just started doing real estate, but I didn't like stay in it because I was still a waitress and still trying to find myself, like look doing jobs, being a waitress, like trying to figure it out. And then finally I got back in it, and I was like, I had a job, and I was like, I'm gonna quit in October. Then I was like, I'm gonna quit in January. Then I was like, I'm gonna quit in a year. They fired me. So I didn't have a choice. And so from there, I was like, okay, Danesha, you're never going to apply for a job again. You're never going to work for anybody ever again. God is telling you real estate is what it is, and that's what it is. And that's what it's been for the last 10 years.
Man, that's a trip. So like you've been fired from every job, and then the final job that you actually stayed the longest in, because I believe in this thing called spiritual bumpers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think God kind of pushes you sometimes when you don't really have the courage, or don't know how to do it yourself. So like
Yeah.
those firings really was kind of in a way kind of pushing you towards the thing that you were really supposed to be doing, right?
Yep. That's what I think. Yeah.
All right, so you get fired out the last job, and now you're full time into real estate.
Yeah.
What was that like at that particular time? Because for a lot of people, they are nervous, right? Because now you're completely commission based.
So it was 2014, I believe. And um, I got fired in October. And so I was a single mom. Like I said, I was a waitress, working jobs. We spend money like you about to go make the money tomorrow. So you just gonna spend it, you know what I mean, today because you're gonna get it tomorrow. So I could stay in my apartment for 2 more months. And then my friend, I ended up telling her what was going on. And she was like, well, girl, y'all could just come stay here. So my friend let me stay with her for a year for free. So that was God. I was able to pay my car note and my insurance, take care of my son and all of that for that year. And then I also helped my friend. Well, because I didn't make any money, not one penny for 10 months straight. And I would get up every day. I was like, well, if God, he telling me if I do what I'm supposed to do, he'll make sure I'm straight. So for every day for 10 months straight, I'm getting up, I'm door knocking, I'm calling out the yellow pages every day. Like I'm working, but nothing's happening. And everybody around me, they closing deals. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like why am I not closing any deals? And so I had a coach at that time and he told me, you're setting your foundation. And I was like, okay. He was like, these people look around, they closing quick now, but they not going to be here in 5 years. You still going to be here in 5 years. So I was like, all right, cool. So I kept, calling yellow pages, whatever. So it was in August of 2016. Okay, so January 2000. So I'm sorry, it was 2015. So January of October is when I was full-time real estate. And then August of 2015 is when I closed two deals in one day. One was the commission was 9,000, the other commission was 9,999. So that was $20,000. And it was 10 months of me working, which some people only make $20,000 a year, and I got it in one day. But people see that one day and don't realize those 10 months that I really, really worked. I didn't have a savings or anything. So for me, it was God. But for other people, if you can have a savings or have some type of plan, then do that. But me, I'm a wing it type person. So I just wing it.
Nah, I mean, you said a lot in that because people don't really see like the beginnings, right? They see where you are now, but they don't really actually see the journey. Picking up the phone book, making phone calls, calling people on a regular basis. All that is like the work that you got to do as an agent to kind of build up to get your business up and running. But like you said before, once it's up and running and you've created what I call that muscle, right? That muscle of doing the work. It's
Mm-hmm.
one of those things that you last. You here for 5 years, 10 years. You built up that muscle in order to make that stuff happen. Um, so all right, so when you first got into it, were you doing residential or commercial, or what was that whole thing like?
So when I very first got into it, before I quit, I was doing commercial. So I started off doing the commercial. I did the business brokerage training. I was doing that, but it wasn't clicking to me. And then I switched brokerages and then started doing residential. And I got like 2 or 3 listings and closed them. When I tell you, I don't know how I priced them listings. I don't know how they closed. I don't even know if the paperwork was right. Like, I don't know how that happened. It just happened. But even with that, it still wasn't enough for me. So I quit. And then when I came back to real estate, I was in residential. I just went straight residential. And then that's when I work, and then started the brokerage in 2016. These years, I don't know. I'm trying to keep the years together, but
They
somewhere like
run
that.
together.
Yeah, and everything for me is always October. So all of this stuff is like it's either October, March, or August. Those are always like my months or whatever. So um, I opened the brokerage October 2016, and we did residential, and I had babies. So I had the twins first. Then they weren't even 2 yet, and I was pregnant with Cash. So open a brokerage, have some kids, get married, have some more kids, figuring out like, okay, how do I do all of this? And so I took a break from commercial from real estate period, and then I decided I didn't have any clients. I had agents under me so they could work the clients, but I didn't work any clients. And so I was like, well, you know what? I don't have any clients. Let me go ahead and do what I really wanted to do from the beginning, which was commercial. And so I just started doing, like, I just went and I just did it, like literally figured it out as I was going.
But you started like you said from the beginning with commercial. Like most
in,
people, it
in
doesn't
mine.
work like that. That they'll start off in residential and then gravitate towards commercial, something like that. Like what got you to the point where it's like, all right, I want to do commercial right from the start.
I don't know. It just always just resonated with me. Like, I can't really say like there was anything in particular that pulled me towards it. But now, after being in residential and now being in commercial, I understand why, because my personality is more equipped for commercial. Residential is very emotional. It's all about the warm and fuzzies. commercial is like logic. Like if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, then we moving on. And so for me, I'm a logical person. I'm emotional, of course, but I'm not emotional about logical things. Maybe I guess I'm emotional about emotional things. So, you know, I can't even tell you what made me want to do commercial from the beginning. I don't know.
It might have been another one of those spiritual bumpers, though.
That's clearly that's what all of these are, right?
Kind of guiding you in that direction. So
Yeah.
a few things like that I learned because I've sold mostly residential, but I have done some commercial and I own some commercial as well.
Mhm.
Um, the numbers, right? I mean, that's one of the biggest things. Just like you said, taking the emotion out. It's all about the numbers. Like how did you get to be able to understand that part of it, and then how were you able to translate that to your clients?
When you say understand the logic,
Well, not
the
only just the
numbers,
logic, but
or the
just
actual breakdown of the
yeah,
numbers.
the breaking down the numbers and being able to give that information to your clients to the point where they start to trust you. Because the biggest thing that I find, with people when they want to go to that whole commercial aspect of it is like, all right, how do I get a client to trust me? How do I get a client to want to work with me? How do I get over the hump of maybe I don't feel like I'm a commercial agent because I can't get this person to rock how I want to rock.
So I think that's the problem right there. If you feel like I'm not a commercial agent, they're going to feel like you're not a commercial agent. And so you have to, in your mind, believe that that's what you are and that's what you're doing. I mean, for me, like I said, I'm a wing it type person. So I'm going to wing it. Some people need to do the research, maybe do a little research prior to switching to commercial, just so that you could feel confident in at least the conversation. Because one of the biggest things is that residential agents will reach out to commercial brokers, because in commercial you're not called an agent. Everybody's called a broker, whether they're a broker or not, or an advisor. And so they'll reach out and they use residential verbiage, which will make the commercial broker say, well, I'm not going to work with them because they're residential. I'm going to do all the work and they're going to get paid. So they'd rather work with someone who's commercial. So if you could at least learn the commercial real estate verbiage, that would help.
Okay. All right, so just kind of get into this part of it because I mean I'm just going over some of the stuff that I hear from other folks. Like people say, like with the commercial, sometimes it's like a good boy network, right? It's kind of one of those type things. What are some of the stuff that you did to overcome that?
So we don't call anybody. We email everybody. And we have like an email that is the bomb, where like before we came up with that email, we were sending this other, just a regular like residential email. Hey, is this still available?
Hmm.
Never get one response. We're like, dang, what's going on? So but then once we created this email and it really sells our client, and it speaks to us knowing what's going on in the commercial world, then they're responding. So because we have our stuff together, um they just trust us. Even like I just showed a property the other day, and it was someone part of the good old boy network, and we um and he said that his client, the current buyer didn't have, they were like short 300,000 or something like that, right? And so me and my client were just listening, and he's like, because you can't just pull 300,000 out of nowhere, and this, that, and the third. And so my client, she just started talking, and she was like, and he asked her something about financing, and she said, well, yeah, we have like 500,000 and we're pre-approved. And so he was like, so me as the agent, he's thinking like I don't have my stuff together, maybe we're playing, maybe we're not. So he tried to throw a number out there thinking it was going to like shake us up, but we both were like, cool, whatever, played it cool, sent them the LOI, sent them the pre-approval, let them know like the assets that my client has and everything like that. And I mean, we're gonna move forward.
So there's different aspect of commercial, right? I mean, because you got leases, you got multifamily, you got office buildings, things of that nature. Do you find it better to like niche one area or kind of dabble into all of it?
So I would say when you start, do the research and pick something that you want to gravitate towards and learn everything you can about that one specific thing. But when you're new, when deals are coming at you, you ain't gonna say, "Oh, I only do retail. I ain't doing office." No, you got to get you some money. So, because like you said, those spiritual bumpers. So I could think that this is the way that I want to go, but then, God is leading me somewhere else. So if I'm turning all of this down, thinking that this is the way I want to go and supposed to go when I'm supposed to go that way, then you're making it harder for yourself. So take everything and see what comes to you the most, and that's probably the lane you should be in.
And if you're doing something like that, I mean, I know for me, I try to partner and talk to as many people as possible. In that commercial lane, do you find it better to if it's something that you're not really as familiar with, to link up with another commercial agent that's better? Let's say if it's multifamily or whether it's leases and things of that nature.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
If you don't feel like you can figure it out, for me, I'm going to figure it out. Like, it just, there's no other option but to figure it out. So I'll figure it out. But if you don't feel comfortable and confident, you need to make sure that you service your client to the best of your ability. And if the best of your ability means to refer it or link up with somebody else, then that's what you need to do.
So, so what are some of the suggestions that you have? Let's say if I'm a residential agent, I've done residential, but I actually want to take the emotion out and actually deal with a client that would just want to look at the numbers and get into the commercial space. What are some of the suggestions that you have for that particular person in order to get there?
Um, Pretty much the same. I mean, if you just gonna wait for the client, wait for the client. But once you have got your first client, like, start doing research. Literally everything there, the answer to all your questions are out there. Like, literally, you can just go Google, you can get on YouTube, they got TikTok, where if you want something real quick, like, you got options to figure it out. So start doing the research for the client, but you also have to set aside time for commercial clients, because residential clients pull at you. They're going to call you, call you, call you. You could set them up on an automatic email. You can't do that in commercial. Because in residential, it's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath in Smyrna for 500,000, right? And that's simple. Well, in commercial, it's not like that. Like, you have to research the property, the type of use that's allowed at the property. You want to make sure the square footage works for your client on top of the budget. You got to make sure that you see what the rent is, but then there's triple net. Will the triple net price your client out? Like, you got to do, like, real work on each individual client in commercial. So you got to be able to set you aside some time every single day to do that, because if not, then you'll forget about the client. So I think that's, if they want to work with a client, if they have a client, they want to try it, like, start scheduling time out. There's Crexy, which is a free site to search properties. CoStar, you have to pay for. Bravitas, you have to pay for. EXP has Build Out. So that's a good one. That's just a commercial real estate MLS within EXP only. So that's a good one. Um, and yeah, so you could go search, look for properties on those sites, and then schedule out time and do your research. Google, find out, the steps, what's next, things like that.
What are some of the things that you do, or what you, I mean, because I know you got a group and you help people get into commercial as well, and show them some of the stuff that you've been able to do. What are some of the things that you actually help them to do in order to get clients? Let's say if I want to get into commercial, but I don't know how to find somebody or a client. I might be familiar with residential, how to find clients, but what are you doing to find your commercial clients to work with?
Literally the exact same thing you did in residential. So you got a whole database of people, I'm sure, that you worked with or that were leads in the residential realm. You could just send them everybody a text and say, "Hey, I'm in commercial real estate now. If you have any commercial real estate needs, let me know. I'm here for you. And you'll get some business from that. So this literally the same things for me. Social media. So for me, I do social media. Um, Agents, I typically get like 90, probably 8% of my business from real estate agents, residential real estate agents, because they can trust that I'm in commercial, I'm only in commercial, and I'll send them the deal back on the residential side. When they feel like you're going to take the deal on the residential side, then they'd rather try to work it and lose the deal than to send it to you and then lose the other side of the deal. So um, social media for me, residential agents, networking events, go to investor networking events. Those people are just looking at things differently than residential. And part of commercial is also like development. So you can do like a subdivision, you can be like an agent who finds the land, lists all the properties. You're still in the residential realm, but you're doing commercial real estate. So that's another option as well.
Yeah, I like that's a good idea. Real good idea. I do know as well, like with commercial, it's a little bit different when if you're representing the buyer, right? And it comes to getting your commission. So, I actually did a class about about getting commission, getting your own commission, and setting your own commission. What's the biggest difference in commercial? I'm gonna let you tell it when it comes to getting your commission.
So for the buyers, you have to. So we have a conversation prior to like ever taking them out. Like in the consultation, we let them know that we may not be able to receive our buyer from the listing side. I mean, our commission from the listing side. So, you will be responsible for the commission. And they say yes, they say no. If they say no, then we just ain't gonna work with them. Or maybe we'll work with them, but not like full fledged. But if we come across something and it happens to pay commission, then we'll send it. But most buyers, though, they're fine. They say okay.
Love it. Well, all right, Denisha. So I appreciate you just coming in and just kind of sharing everything about commercial, what you've been able to accomplish. I mean, any parting words, before we jump off about some of the things that you been able to help people with.
Um, I think this my number one thing is to have a process, like an intake process. Don't be so thirsty and just take every client on, because if the client is not ready, you just wasted your time. So if you at least have a ready, willing, and able client ready to go, you have an intake process so you know that, then you can go ahead and move on to the next step. So
Love it.
just don't be thirsty. Drink
Don't
some
be
water.
thirsty. All right, that's the message of the day. Don't be thirsty. And once again, I appreciate you, Denisha, for coming out here. We do these every Thursday at 11 o'clock where we're interviewing an agent that's killing it, simply to provide tremendous value to the real estate agent that's looking to grow and build. I appreciate you, Denisha. Glad to be partnered with you, and glad you're doing what you're doing in order to help people in order to grow their business. Till the next
Thank
time,
you.
peace out.